Okay, I want to test out a new bit of kit with a really good idea I've had. I want to show you how to pass a driving test like a driving instructor. That's me. And the new bit of kit, okay, it's going to make me look a little bit silly, but I'm here for it. Like, if you've seen me drive with socks on my hands, you know that I'm here for it. POV cam, right? So that what I see when I'm driving, you can see as well. So that if I do something, you can see what I do, you can see it from my perspective, and you can copy it and pass your driving test, right? Okay, so I'm at Bromley, being a little bit cheeky because they don't like you to be in their car park when the test centre's open. Good view? How am I looking? Good? So let's start the driving test, and I'm gonna start confident from the outset, and let me explain what exactly that means. Signalling out of the bay. Confidence doesn't mean speed. So let's have a look at this. At the start of your driving test in Bromley, you're going to have this disgusting blind corner. And on the disgusting blind corner, what you're going to have is people flying around on the way to Lidl. People are in a super massive hurry to get to Lidl. They love a little bit of Lidl in Bromley. So I'm going to be really cautious until I can see that it's clear. So what confidence does not mean is driving fast. What confidence means is getting on with it and going at the appropriate speed limit. Okay, now let's talk about this. I could have squeezed through that gap. I could have squeezed through this gap as well.
Turn left, then you have reached your destination.
But if I was doing my driving test again, I'm definitely not going to squeeze through that gap. We've got to think about the point of this. The point of this is to make an examiner feel safe, to make an examiner feel like you've got their back in terms of safety in the car. And I'm going to recite the procedures every single time. Mirror, signal, position, speed, and then look. Mirror, can go after the red one. The best piece of advice, the best video I've ever done in terms of advice to help you pass your driving test is commentary. Say what you're going to do out loud. Not only does that help the examiner know what you're going to do next, but it keeps you focused. So even if you don't use mirror, signal, position, speed, that's okay. Mirror, signal, maneuver. Say it out loud as you're doing the actions. I prefer mirror, signal, position, speed because it's less ambiguous. Mirror, signal, maneuver. What? There's a lot of things that you have to do in that maneuver. I might as well say them all out loud. And then I'm gonna get it right and not forget to adjust my speed and gears and stuff, right? Okay, but if your instructor uses...
After 300 yards, go left on the roundabout and take the first exit.
If your instructor uses mirror, signal, maneuver, go with it, it's fine. It's just not what I prefer, which is okay. And here's the next tip. What I do when I'm driving, what's next? Big car parked, right mirror check. What's next and what do I need to do about it? Pedestrian, slow down, right mirror check in case I need to move around. Okay, what's next? Roundabout. Big ass roundabout. I'm turning left first exit on it. Waiting for that junction. Mirror, signal,
go left on the roundabout,
positioning,
take the first exit.
Looking at the road markings, speed, and look. I'm making sure I go around those road markings too. Don't know why that's there. Kind of confusing. Not really any need for it. And then again, new road, new rules. New road, new hazards. What do I need to look out for? Road signs, road markings, other road users, and what's happening on the road. This is the best time to miss a speed change when you get out onto a new road because you're thinking about your steering. You're doing your steering and you forget to look for the signs. As you're done with the steering and you look up, the signs are all gone. Where are the signs? They're at the beginning of the road. Okay, I'm getting up to speed now.
Yards, bear right.
And this is what you need to think on every single road. What's the appropriate speed versus what's the max speed? So on this road, the max speed is 30 and it's nice and clear. I can see quite far ahead as well. So I'm doing 29 miles an hour and that's a good speed. Just easing off the gas a little bit. I don't need to press the brake. I'm just easing off the gas and that gives me a gentle deceleration for that corner. Oh, love it when we take a video seriously.
After 200 yards, cross the roundabout and take the second exit.
Park car, right mirror check. What's next? How am I going to deal with it? This is what you need to do through your whole test. What's next and how am I going to deal with it? Because even if there's nothing next, you asking yourself, what's next, what's next, what's next, you're going to spot the hazard as soon as possible. And where are we looking on the road? We're looking center of the windscreen, as far ahead as you can, not down on the floor, as far ahead as you can all the time. There's no point looking at the car in front.
Roundabout and take the second exit.
Thanks. No point looking at the car in front. We need to look 5, 10 cars ahead all the time. Because if the car in front's doing something, braking, for example, that's too late to react to it. We need to react to it when... We need to react to it 5 or 10 cars ahead. Wow, that was hairy. I'll tell you why that happened. Because I went around the outside of the roundabout. I wasn't signalling, so I shouldn't have been turning left. She must have assumed that I was going left because I went around the outside, which is correct if you're taking a roundabout and not turning right. But I was ready for anything. Okay, we're going kind of slow on this road. I would say that we could go a little bit faster, but I'm keeping a nice safe distance to the vehicle in front. Probably more than you're expecting. More than you would normally keep. Why am I doing that? High-sided vehicle. If I get right up close to it...
After 300 yards, go straight on, then turn right.
If I get right up close to it, I'm going to be able to see less around it. So I'm keeping a little bit further back. I'm not driving slower, I'm just keeping a little bit more distance. This is kind of confusing. If you're doing your driving test, or as an instructor, if I was doing my driving test, I'd be looking at the sat-nav screen all the time. The voice instructions, I'm just taking it as a prompt.
Straight on, then turn right.
If I look at the screen, I can tell that's a left turn. And this is recorded from an actual driving test. I recorded this last week, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago now, and my pupil who did this driving test route, the examiner actually interrupted and said, that's a left turn. When the sat-nav said straight on, he said it was a left turn, which I love. I love it when the examiners help, but they don't always. So you need to be looking at the sat-nav screen for the proper instruction and just using the voice guidance as a prompt. Okay. And people ask me all the time, like, okay, yeah, this is a real test route. Someone's actually done this route a week, 2 weeks ago. People ask me all the time, can I have the routes? Can I practice the routes that you do? I can't because they're recorded onto my sat-nav, getting right into the box. I'm gonna wait for that motorbike just because motorbikes give me the heebie-jeebies. And, okay, people are really worried about hesitation. Really worried about hesitation. I know I get this comment all the time about hesitation. Hesitation is when you miss a massive gap. Not when you think, oh, I could have probably taken that, but I was a bit cautious. That's not hesitation, that's caution. Hesitation is you have to be waiting there for a long time in a gap where there's like, I could have had a picnic in that gap, it's so massive. Back to test routes. Can't send you the test routes, but if you want to do test routes on your own, like with your mum, dad, friends or family, there's an app called Otimo and they've got all of the test centres and all of the test routes. You know me, I'm a big fan of mock tests.
After 200 yards, go right on the roundabout and take the third exit.
Do as much.
Then take the third right.
Wow, this that's going to get so annoying. I'm a big fan of mock tests. Do loads, do as many as possible with your instructor, with your friends, with your family, with your mum, dad, anybody who will take you out on a mock test. Do it. And we're not practicing test routes because you're probably going to get a different test route. You're practicing test conditions. No talking, and you are the only one that's going to stop you from doing dumb stuff.
Go right on the roundabout and take the third exit, then take the third right.
The only person that can influence the drive on a mock test or a real test is you. And that is a crazy feeling. The first time you do a mock test, it's a crazy feeling, trust me. You do not want the first time you feel that to be on your real test. So take as many mock tests as you can. All about Otimo. Okay, let's have a look at this.
After 300 yards, turn right, then go left on the roundabout and take the first exit.
Okay, so, wow, this is why people turn the voice instruction off on sat-navs. I'm looking at it, I don't need you to keep talking to me. Anyway, you noticed I didn't go into third gear there. I'm going into third gear now. I'm adjusting my speed to the conditions of the road. Going back into second gear, this is tight, super tight, I'm taking it easy. Keep clear, why does it keep clear there? Oops, bang the POV cam. You can tell this is the first time I've used this, right? What, guys, in the comments, let's go.
Go left on the roundabout and take the first exit.
What do you think of the POV cam? Good, helpful, or Francis just looks like a donut? Did you notice on that yellow box there? I carried on even though I couldn't exit the yellow box. Why did I do that? Planning ahead. I could see that the cars ahead.
Yards, go left on the roundabout and take the first exit. Then turn right.
Okay, I could see that the cars ahead were moving. The car in front of me wasn't moving, but 3 or 4 cars ahead of him or her was moving. So I started to move so that I could catch up to the car in front and then move as they started to move. Planning it like there's, okay, the secret to passing your driving test
on the roundabout and take the first exit, then turn right.
is planning ahead. The secret to passing your driving test is planning ahead. That's it. Once you get to the stage where you can drive, it's not going to be gears or steering or anything silly that you fail for. Maybe it might be recorded as that, but the thing that is going to cause you to mess up is not planning ahead and having something catch you out that you weren't ready for. True, facts. The secret to passing your test is planning ahead. You're going to increase your chances of being able to plan ahead in your driving test if you take mock tests.
At the end of the road, turn left.
You can actually see it in someone's driving. I've done a lot of mock tests now. You can see it in someone's driving the second that they stop planning ahead. It's usually after a small mistake, small mistake. Gone. Like, you're gone because you're thinking about it and you're not planning ahead anymore. Mirrors, signal, position, and speed. Back into first gear, check, it's clear, and I'm gonna go. The worst thing to see on a mock test, honestly, is people stopping at giveaway lines when it's clear.
At the end of the road, turn right, then keep right.
Okay, this isn't an audition to get a learner permit. This isn't an audition
then keep right.
to be a really good learner. We're not a learner anymore. You are a fully qualified driver. By the time you take your driving test, you need to drive like everybody else. You're gonna get a pink permit like everybody else on the road. So you need to drive like everybody else on the road. Who stops at giveaway lines when they don't need to? What does giveaway mean? It means give way to the traffic that's on the next road along. So we don't need to be stopping if there's nothing to stop for. And it makes your journey take so long. Okay, this is a really busy road. I'm not gonna start thinking about hesitation though. I'm not gonna start thinking about the amount of time that I've taken here, because if there's no gap, then I can't go and I've not taken any time or wasted anyone's time. What I do though, when I have this situation, is I'm looking both ways at the same time, so that if I spot a small gap on the right, I can then marry that up with a small gap on the left, like that one. Boom. And here's, this is just
After 100 yards, keep right.
Have a look on the floor now. I love it when we do educational content and not just be silly. Arrows on the floor. She's telling me to keep right. I can see on the sat-nav that I'm going straight. So I know that the left lane's turning left, the middle lanes and the right lane are going where I need to go. So I can pick my lane way in advance. That's important. Mirror check to set off. Cyclists, motorbikes, checking for them, keeping them safe. So here's what we need to be looking for when we're driving. And if you've learnt to drive with me, or you're one of my pupils at the moment, you're going to hear me say this all the time. Road signs, road markings, other road users. And I say it all the time just to keep you thinking about the 3 most important things to look out for. When you're planning ahead, here's what you need to be looking for. Road signs tell you what's coming up next. You need to be looking at them. Speed changes, lanes, everything. Road markings tell you where you need to position or what's coming up next that you need to position for. Bus lanes, for example, or this was a really good example. And then other road users, who do we mean by that? Cars, motorbikes, vans, lorries, pedestrians, mopeds, motorbikes, everybody. Did I say bicycles? Bicycles too. Everybody on the road, we need to look out for them and keep them safe. Goes without saying. But if you keep saying it to yourself, you'll get into the mindset of what you need to be looking for. Road signs, road markings, and other road users. I say it probably like 10 times a lesson. So important. Okay, keeping my speed controlled.
800 yards, turn left.
800 yards, turn left. Okay. 30 miles an hour, dual carriageway. I've been looking for signs. There it is. Road markings, speed camera. But we don't need... Do you know what? How many times have you seen someone slow down for a speed camera when they're going the correct speed? I don't know why. Just go the correct speed and ignore speed cameras. Like, completely ignore speed cameras. But go the correct speed all the time. Top tip. When you're at a set of traffic lights, this is really important. Don't chill. when I'm sitting in the passenger seat and I'm doing mock tests on people, you can see that they're just chill. Come on. There's a yellow box ahead. My bad, don't come on. You can see that when you get to a red traffic light, they're just chilling. Max chill mode activated. But this is the time when actually you need to concentrate more. You need to be really ready for that red light to turn green. You need to be thinking about what's happening next. What's happening next? Red light's, green light's gonna go on. I'm gonna set off. How am I gonna use the clutch? How am I gonna use the brake? And what's ahead of me on the road?
After 300
Yellow
yards,
box can clear
turn
it.
left, then you have reached your destination
Road,
on your right.
road signs, get in lane, left 2 lanes go my way and right lanes for right. So I know what the shape of the lanes are gonna be coming up. Road markings, road signs, other road users. These are probably the 2 biggest tips that I give to my pupils that I'm giving to you now. What's next and how am I going to deal with it? You need to be thinking about what's next the whole driving test. Ask yourself all the time, what's next, what's next, what's next? When something comes up, a hazard, ask yourself how to deal with it. Then the next most important tip is the 3 areas that you need to be looking at. Road signs, road markings, and other road users. Oh, this is fun. I quite like the POV cam. Get in the comments though, let me know what's useful, what's not. Do you know what? I don't do this content for me. I don't make YouTube videos for me. I can already drive, right? I just make them for you guys. So
Turn left,
if they work for you?
You have reached your destination on your right.
Okay, got it. This is where the independent driving ended and we're not turning left, we're going straight on. So this is where independent driving ends and the examiner guided her back to the test center from here. So I'm going to guide myself back to the test center and we're going to turn off the sat nav. Okay, mirror check, mirror check. I can see the lights have gone green. I've started to lift my clutch up already, but I'm not engaging it all the way through the biting point until the car in front sets off. Everything just happens 5 steps ahead, 10 steps ahead. There we go, let's go. I'm not hanging about, and yeah, I like to drive fast. It's fun, but when you're on your driving test, if I was taking this driving test now, I'd be trying to do quick acceleration. Like the road is completely clear up ahead of me. We don't need to accelerate gently and slowly. We're not going to go wheel spinning like Lewis Hamilton off the start line of a Monaco Formula 1 or anything stupid like that. Okay, I know I need to get into the right lane now, so I'm adjusting my speed, not just for this cyclist. I'm indicating right, but I can see that red car, that one, in my mirror. Luckily, I was behind a cyclist, so I had to reduce my speed for that anyway. And nice and gently around this bend, no coasting, my clutch is up, and good speed around that bend. I'm not thinking about it now though, I'm planning what's happening next. There were no road signs as I entered this road, which means the speed hasn't changed. If you've missed it and you're thinking about steering, but only then looking up when you're thinking about the sign, it's too late. Road signs, road markings, and other road users. Slow on the floor, what does that mean? Slow on the floor means there's a hazard coming up. I'm assuming it's this bend here, and there's going to be something after it probably. So slow doesn't necessarily mean slow down. Slow means slow down if you're already going at max speed. Or just be aware that there's a hazard coming up. But if you're on your driving test and you're already driving 10% reduced speed anyway, you don't have to slow down for every slow sign. I'm being cautious here because, okay, yeah, there's definitely enough cars, enough room for 3 abreast through that gap. I didn't affect the oncoming vehicle and I wanted to get past the bus. Because if I don't get past all the buses, I might as well have an Oyster card. If you're not from London, that doesn't make sense. If you're not from London, then you don't know what an Oyster card is. But it's a bus pass. Let's go with the bus pass. Coming up to the roundabout, I'm planning ahead, checking, and even though I'm in second gear, I'm not slowing down enough that I need to stop, especially not for a roundabout. Most roundabouts you can do in second gear because you can see what's coming from so far back. Okay, here's the thing. I know right now, because I know the area, that I'm coming back to the test center, which means my driving test is nearly ended. Which means now I'm thinking about my driving test, but I've said it on so many videos before, but it's so important. It's so important. There's a statistic, and if I put proper planning into all these videos, into what I was going to say, then I'd have researched the statistic, but I haven't. Why has he got his hazard lights on? Let's be cautious and stay back. There's a statistic about how many crashes happen super close to home, and it's quite a lot. A lot of crashes and accidents happen when you're right near home. It's the same on a driving test. When you're getting close to home, you're going to be thinking, what's happening next? What's for dinner? What's for tea? What am I going to do next? What am I going to drink next? What am I going to do as soon as I get in? But that's distracting you from the driving, which is why accidents happen when you're close to home. So if you can drive already, then bear that in mind. And same for the driving test. Put all of your energy, even more energy than normal, into concentrating. And I know there's going to be people saying, you're driving with one hand, you wouldn't do that on a driving test. Yes, I would. I 100% would, because I'm driving comfortably, right? I'm driving comfortably. This is how I drive all the time. Okay, most of the time. I drive with one hand when I don't need to be super accurate, but when I need to be accurate, like through that turn there, I'll use two hands. Honestly, that's how I drive. And if I was taking a driving test, a real driving test, my actual driving test, and it meant something to me, in places where I don't need to be super accurate, like this, maybe 90% accurate, I'd just drive with one hand. But then as soon as I need to, maybe taking a tight turn or driving through a narrow bit like this, I'd then switch to two hands again, because that gives you A, extra concentration, extra focus, and B, a tiny bit more accuracy with your steering. Okay, boom, that was fun. Guys, what do we think of POV cam? Good, yeah, should we keep using it? I'm obviously not going to stick it on students when they're taking mock tests. That would be well distracting, but I can do some more videos with this for sure around more driving test routes. Also, if you noticed any mistakes that I made on that mock test, put it in the comments, we'll debate them there. We're always in the comments with you, commenting back, so that we can help you pass your driving test more easily. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Also share it with someone else who finds this interesting. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.